Good morning, YouTube. It's about 7 a.m. and I just ended up taking my children to school and started watching the news, started reading, and I wanted to just take a little bit of time to share some of the stuff that's happened around my area. You can probably hear the little roosters going in the background; those are over that way. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, which I haven't ever talked about, really more so the prepping lifestyle. I don't have one, but I think that I'm gonna need to develop a sort of a prepping lifestyle. If you guys are following my videos, you saw about 2 weeks ago where we had a winter storm that came through. It knocked down the estimates now. I think GMA and FEMA both say about uh, close to $2 million in damage in all the counties added up. They're trying to see if it's worth $3 million currently, and there's still are surveyors here assessing the uninsured damages to see if it's a state of federal qualification. But basically, it didn't more so destroy homes as much as it pulled trees. The windstorms pulled trees out of the ground or knocked them over or caused issues that way. Several trees went down and knocked down power lines, causing power and panic losses, or well, power losses and obviously panic increased. Um, we had several families displaced due to fires caused directly from the trees hitting and power being restored and then causing fires to catch. Because it was also a winter storm, people were dealing with rains and cold weather, and their roof is open. A lot of people went to Red Cross and tried to seek shelter there. And while they were there, their houses were being ransacked. I mean, it was just it was a state of affairs I've never been used to. In the area, even as close to 60, 70 miles away, retailers like Advance Auto. I mean, you wouldn't even think this, but Advance Auto, O'Reilly's, they had ads selling generators, and they said, "Come on down and get them." Tractor Supply Company typically sells the same generator, same price, but it seems like their prices even went up. I was reading that the only generators available were $1,300 starting, and albeit they were inverter-based generators, but basically Lowe's, Home Depot, uh, anybody that normally would carry generators, they'd carry about two or three for selection, but normally they don't carry a lot. And when the windstorm came through and knocked out hundreds of thousands of people without into a state of no power, everybody went out and bought generators. You can find on Craigslist they're double the price right now. You got to go 2-3 hours outside of the area just to be able to get to someone that can sell you a generator reasonably. Which brings me to the topic today. This morning, I was reading the news where a group is basically has been going around stealing people's generators and selling them to pawn because they're premium at this point. There's been contractors going in saying they'll remove debris, they'll take a deposit, and then off and go. I don't I don't really look at um, a lot of things and think, oh wow, let me get in there and get prepared. But honestly, this has been an eye opener for me because something as simple as a windstorm coming through and knocking out power has caused such a disarray with community that I feel like there would be no community if there was an issue with, for, let's say, fuel went so high that no one could afford it. Um, which has happened, but it only went up to like $3 a gallon. Imagine that's $20 a gallon. That no one could afford it. People would resort to stealing. People would maybe the common people would get together and start carpooling, but the vast majority wouldn't be able to afford to go to work. Or worse yet, let's say the grocery store ran out of food. The worst case scenario is, well, in my mind, the stores run out of food, people start taking it from others. People can't feed their families, so they resort to whatever they have to get food. I mean, I've started a little greenhouse last night, albeit it's what I like to call do it yourself. Um, but I'm doing something to kind of prep myself for a different life, um, that might not have some of the luxuries that we have come inside. Um, I'll be honest, I started out with solar some many years back, mainly because of the fact that I couldn't afford to get electricity out to where I was trying to get it to, and it was easier to go with solar. Since then, I've had many different moves. I've moved to different states. My job carried me a lot of different places, and the solar bug bit me. And since then, I've never wanted to go back on grid. I've always wanted to have energy independence, but now I'm seeing that I want to have more independence, more things that I can rely on myself, self reliance, I guess you would say, and that's something that I'm gonna end up recommending. Now, I didn't want to make this all about gloom and doom and all that stuff, but I did want to mention it because of what I read this morning. It was just tough seeing that, just like I said, a storm could cause so many issues. And the fact is, another storm is coming through this weekend. I volunteered some of my time to help clean up some debris to some families in town. They, oh man, they still have people still in centers. There's still homes without power. And I mean, short of me loaning out my generator to family members, I would do that. But I mean, I almost want to get in there and sell one of my generators, but I know it wouldn't do much good for that one family. I'd personally rather team up with them and show them how they can be energy independent, at least to run their refrigerator, because people are losing groceries, people are losing their houses because they're running heaters off of generators. Or I mean, one guy told me he's basically went through 18 gallons of gas in 5 days. 18 gallons. So you do the math, that's $2-3 a gallon. That dude's spending money just to run his generator, and he's not even fully powered. He could have spent a couple of $100s on a panel and on his out of his tax refund and be good right now. I wow, it's different. Well, anyway, um, sorry about that little bit of a rant. I did want to let you know, guys, know the state of affairs with that. This morning it's a real foggy. Uh, they say it's gonna rain maybe, but it's low winds, high amounts of fog. So I'm not getting any solar production. Probably I'm probably getting maybe 100 watts, maybe 200. I haven't checked the app. I'm pretty sufficient. The system's so automated, I don't really check that anymore. And a few have requested that I do in-depth reviews with my products, and that's something that I came up on watching others show me what they had, and honestly, I can understand that. I haven't lived a quote unquote um, limited lifestyle running on solar. I'm off grid on my power, so I don't look at it as any different from anybody's outlet. So, with that being said, I will do a video with that. Not today, namely because I gotta probably tie up some wires or make it a little neater for you. I do have the wires ran, everything's permanent located, but I'd like to do some zip tying so everything's kind of labeled so you guys can follow along, as it can be complicated if you didn't build a system. This is my little hoop house thing I started building last night. Don't laugh at it. My car seat for my little son, he had an accident in my car, and I had to take that out so it didn't stink up my car with number one. Anyway, I got some garlic in here, some carrot seeds, and then in the back I got some tomato seeds going. I got some green onion, and that's last year's supplies. I ended up putting them all in there, and I'm trying to put the hoop house to where it covers all this. And I just had some straps that I use. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, just to protect my plants from the cool. But anyway, basically I have 2 pallets that came with my solar panels. I have 4 pallets altogether. I just wanted to use 2 because this is, I think, big enough. Plus my bed only went this far. Some spare wood I had around. The PVC cost me about 20 bucks. And mostly everything I already had. I keep a good supply of stuff on my in my shed, and that glass there, I'm gonna use it until I can get some clear plastic. But basically that just keeps the animals out. There are chickens crawling around here all the time. So that's the hoop house. You guys already know about my solar array. That there is basically how I power my house. I can give you the specs or a video to the specs. I have 2 tilted arrays in the front. I then have my major player in power production there, and then my auxiliary power right there. These will usually fill my battery bank up pretty quickly in the morning. I'm working on a dump load controller, as I stated in the last video, to allow for all the excess power to either go into a secondary battery bank or a baseboard heater. In the summer, obviously, I won't want that. I probably want something more like a air conditioning system. But I have my mini split. It runs independent of that system. It's powered by the 2 panels here. I have 2 more panels on, well, 3 more panels on the roof running into that system. And I'll be able to hook up more panels to it as soon as I get my new charge controllers. I'll take you to the back and let you see my newest addition. This is my truck. I'm gonna speak on that in a second too. This is what you guys have seen. This is a temporary setup as far as the square, not the square, but the T that you have for the post. But this is gonna be the permanent mounted location. Still working on finishing up that entrance to the shed. Don't worry. Right now it's just open, but I'm cutting the wood for that. Anyway, that's why I mounted my turbine. I'm gonna probably go up about another 3 feet just to catch a little bit more air. I don't want the turbulence coming from the roof, and this design here allows me to do it. Let me walk around and let you see what I did. There's my second pole. I decided not to use it, namely because when I put the 2 pipes together, it was too weak of a setup. I ended up deciding, instead of mounting it to the ground, to mount it to the side of the shed. Basically how I have that worked is I have a 2-inch flange, half-inch flange, half-inch pipe all the way through here. Basically this is 2 inches off of that flange. You have a can't even think this morning, but basically you have a corner piece. Then you have a coupler. You have a 3-inch pipe in here that's also half-inch underneath this 1-inch, a half-inch, another corner piece, 2 inches, and a flange. And those flanges are mounted into the board. I originally was using this to stand this vertically off of the ground, and just so happened yesterday I was carrying this thing, and I thought the bright idea to mount it to the wall. It's very easy for me to put the unit up. I do have it temporarily affixed, but solidly affixed here using some wire there. I'm not even sure what that wire is called, but I used it on my shower head and it just was spare. I plan to use unistrut and some clamps that's rated for that size pole, which is 1.5 inches, and then go all the way up. I have a bolt there and a bolt there holding the panel, so the pole, so it doesn't spin, but also securing the pole to the wall a little bit better. I found that I can even take the screws out of this and the pole will still be held up by those wires, so it really is helping keep the load from traveling to the wood on the wall. But like I said, today I plan to move this probably another 3 feet up just to give it a little bit more height. You guys already know about my off the on-demand water heater, but this is my 100-gallon tank. I've upgraded that for my little buy it yourself 20-gallon tanks. I'm probably gonna hook up a mini water heater to that setup and turn down my fuel usage on the propane and let that last a little longer. You guys know about the on demand that I have from Marie. This thing's still kicking. Had only one issue, and that was changing the batteries. It leaks now for some reason, but Marie has a exchange warranty that's unlike any other. I just got to find the card so I can go ahead and get that called in. I might even be able to just make a phone call. But anyway, everything that you're seeing I've owned for a while. Everything's paid for itself. Return on investment was about 2 years maybe. Most of the stuff I bought it as I came along to get money. The first thing I did was buy my car. I have a CTS, bought and paid for cash. I bought this truck, bought and paid for cash. Bought my wife a van, and bought my solar system. And honestly, it's not surprising. It's one of those things where the United States, the world, everyone tells you that you got to go through a bank to get what you want, or you got to finance it to get what you want. And honestly, that's just immediate gratification. If you can hold back for a while. I had an old rundown car that I was riding for many years. It was over 200,000 miles, and nothing was wrong with it if you kept the oil changed. Outside of the AC not working, if you can deal with a couple of hot summers with the windows down. I'm sorry about that, YouTube. My camera just knocked out. I didn't have any battery life left in it. Apparently I didn't put it on the charger last night, so we're gonna finish the rest of this conversation inside of my car. And where I was leaving off was basically how I got to where I'm at, and I talked about how I want to make sure that I'm very self-reliant based off the events happening around me. And like I was saying, I've purchased my cars secondhand, but I've purchased them by cash. Just basically having a worker's man salary. I was single breadwinner for the last 7 years in my family, and my one income provided for me, my wife, and 3 kids. But we managed to, by my wife's accounting methods anyway, we were able to save up and eventually take off and purchase things that we would have normally financed. And I'm not saying that I'm totally debt free. I still pay Verizon $180 a month. I pay $100 a month. Well, about $90 for a $30 internet bill a month somehow. And then there's fuel and other things that come into play, groceries that we have to buy. But for the most part, I don't have to pay rent to anybody. I was living a lifestyle where I was paying someone $1,400 a month to live in their house, $500, $300 a month in gas and electricity, or just electricity. I've had times where I had cable and satellite TV, and I was paying an extra $120 a month for that. And honestly, I was working to pay people. And since I've started to having a series of events happen to me, I've kind of been prepared a little bit better, and I want to become one of those people that's in the prepping world that not necessarily walking around with the gun on their side with gun shells planted in the yard, but I do want to have a little bit more self-reliance. I do have chickens. We now have a garden cover in sorts, and we're gonna plant and hopefully be able to get as many cucumbers as we did last year. Oh man, we had anyway. I'm going off on tangent, but I do want to get out there and become a little bit better about preparing my family for if things don't go good economically. Because like I said, with the power being out and so many people being not used to it, it's been turmoil. People aren't able to trust people because everybody is bad on their luck. It's it's not like a plant left or jobs left. They just can't afford to go out and buy a generator to power their house, so they steal one. Or people take advantage of it, steal your generator and pawn it so that they can buy whatever they were planning on buying. There's still bad people around. You just don't know it. I have cameras all around my house and down the road, and I feel safer with that. But I honestly just I want to do a little bit more to make sure my family's secure. I can tell you this, and I've been posting more videos mainly because of the fact that I haven't been at a 9 to 5 every single day. I've been doing side jobs for the last 7 months. I haven't worked full time in the last 7 months, guys, and it's fortunate for me because I don't have to pay utilities with rent. I don't have to pay basically I don't even remember what the bills are. I don't have a car payment. I do pay my full coverage insurance. It's about $120 a month with 3 vehicles that I own. Groceries have still been pretty steady at a very high rate. I think I'm paying about $1,000 a month in groceries. And the only reason we're able to get by as long as we have is because I was saving up to buy another vehicle. I was going to sell my truck and end up getting a Sierra. It's just something I like just looking at. It wasn't anything other than that. And luckily we had that money in the account when I did end up finally leaving the job that I was at. And basically that left me at an advantage to where I was able to sit back and see how my work, my hobby, has allowed us to live like we are. It's not a luxurious lifestyle. Yes, we could afford a bigger house. Yes, we could afford more land, but honestly, we'd be tied to the bills of that and lose it all. Whereas right now, I own my house, I own my land, I own my panels, I own my electricity, I own every single thing that I have. I even own this phone. I just can't get Verizon to give me the rights to the service. I'm making a Wi-Fi antenna so I could do like a video chat every now and then, and go to McDonald's for free Wi-Fi or something. But I think I can afford a phone bill. In fact, I haven't been able to. So even though it's been $180. But today, like I said, I kind of looked at the events that were unfolding. I thought maybe you guys have some experiences that you can comment on, and maybe there's some help and advice you can provide me to become a little bit more self-reliant. Maybe you just want to chime in. Maybe you watch this video and agree with me, and if that's the case, give this video a like and a thumbs up, subscribe, and basically follow the videos. Today I will be going into the shed. You guys know I have a PIP in there. I have another MPPT charge controller in there. We got a 12 volt system and a 24 volt system inside of the shed. The house has a 48 volt system in there. There's a bunch of redundancies around this house that allows me to power all the things that I have without having a failure in the system somewhere. And I continue to build onto that. My other house, I do have another house that I own. That was the first house that you guys saw in my video series. We use it mainly for storage, and currently it has 280 watts on the roof and a 12 volt charge controller and a 6,000 watt inverter powering the house. The grass has grown up, the weeds have grown up. I basically keep the outlets lit up so that if I need to, I can go out there, turn the lights on. I can work in the dark with sufficient lighting. I don't have a TV out there anymore because someone ended up breaking it. But I have a lot of stuff out there, and I have food. I have a freezer. It's not plugged in currently, but I have a freezer out there. I have stacks of food, stacks of water for the batteries. I think I have maybe 20 gallons of distilled water for the batteries that I just bought in bulk. So if there was an event that happened and I needed to bug out real quick, I got my trailer on the other side of these panels. I can hook up to it, get all of my equipment loaded, and then go out to that location where no one knows that someone lives out there, and I should be able to re-erect a lot of things, or at least be safe for a period of time. It's a blockhouse. I use it for if, for instance, there's a storm coming through. I'd rather be there than in the mobile, until I can get this thing fortified and done the way I want it done on the outside. I'd rather be in a block home than a mobile when it's high winds. And speaking of wind, you guys seen my most recent update, which is my wind turbine, and I showed you guys how that looks on the backside, and I'm just so happy to have that. As soon as I get the new parts in, I should be able to hook that up and show you guys how the wind power is going, and start posting videos like I used to, which was basically a breakdown of my equipment and how it all runs together and how I have it set to maintain my lifestyle. The video is getting pretty long, so I'm just gonna stop it there. I will, like I said, be inside the shed posting another video a little bit later. If you have any comments, put them inside. And like I said, like or subscribe for me if you like the video, and have a good day.